12th, and we are out at one of our bee yard areas, and we are just surveying the plants to see if any of them are pollinating out yet. It tells us when we can put our bees here, because right now we have them at our winter locations, and we're going to go around and look at the different plants and see, you know, when we should be getting those bees here. This is star thistle, otherwise known as knotweed, and the bees just love this. It's one of their favorite plants here. Mike, when does this usually pollen out?
That usually blooms in late August and September.
Okay.
And as you can see,
There's a lot of it. It's
this
all
whole
over the place.
hillside is full of it.
This is one of our favorite bee yards here. It's rich in resources. And really, Wisconsin, all these hills and valleys here were made during the Ice Age when icebergs came through and carved these hills in the land. So all those, it's just rich with resources for the bees.
Well, not this hole.
Not this hole. Yeah.
This is an old sand pit.
Yeah. So this is white clover and yellow clover all through here. It usually blooms in August and September. And the bees these were covered in our bees last year. So I imagine there's going to be twice as many this year. So we'll move on.
Okay, so one of the best things about this yard is we have probably 300 acres of woods on the north side. The river is over here. You can hear some geese going by. So there is tons of forage here during spring and summer, but the time that this really shines is in fall. There is approximately 80 acres of swampland just on the other side of this little hill. So they have flowers all fall. Then as you can see, the hills here are covered in knotweed, yellow clover, and white clover. And then also we have
Look, there go some ducks.
Yep, some ducks. There is goldenrod filling that whole open area all over there. There's also bee balm here, and what's that one that monarchs like? Milkweed.
Milkweed.
There's tons of milkweed up here. So this yard last year we had 20 hives here, and after we took the honey off in August, around the middle of August, we gave them a treatment, and then we put full-size boxes back on top just so they had something to do, so they didn't want to swarm. And unbeknownst to us, they filled full deep supers within a week and a half. They had them full and capped within a week and a half. And the hives that we had in this yard, they survived the winter better at a higher percentage than all of our other yards. So this yard really has great resources. I think we're going to maybe put 30 hives here this year, but we'll see how everything goes. The sides of the road here are also covered with this little bush right here. You probably can't really tell what it is right now, but this is called hare's foot clover, just because of the fluffy things I have. These also bloom in July and August, so this is another source for the bees that they have here for the summer.
How do you identify all your plants, Mike?
Actually, I have this. Well, actually, I'm a genius, and I just know all this stuff. No, I have this nice little app on my phone. You can't see it right now, probably because of the sunlight, but it's called Picture This. And it's one of the best resources that I have my phone for. I can take a picture of any plant anywhere, and it'll tell me what it is and whether the bees like it or not. So it's a really good app to have. So most of the food that the bees collect is actually from trees, starting basically in May all the way through August. That's really the majority of the food that they get comes from trees. So this is an example of a small yellow birch tree. These are the little catkins they get. These are going to be covered in pollen in probably a month. There'll be a lot more on here once it starts blooming. And then above us we have a whole bunch of large popple trees. These are the first trees that are actually going to give the bees pollen. You can see they have some little buds up on top. I would say in 2 weeks we'll probably have pollen coming in from the popple trees.
This is milkweed. The other ones, it's filled with milkweed out here in summer. And in winter they freeze and get hard and dry and break and fall over, but they always come back. Bees love milkweed, however, it's a trap basically, and it's really sticky and gooey in there, and sometimes the bees get trapped in milkweed. But it is another resource if they get out with that nectar and pollen. Where we're going to put our bee yard again this year, right here. It is on the north, the woods are on the north side of the bees. It protects them against the wind coming from the north, and a little bit on the west too. But it will be a little bit bigger. This is where we'll put our electric fence, and this is where our migratory hives will go on pallets mostly. So.
And we did have a problem with one bear here last year. I would not be surprised if we'll have more problems, but he broke through the fence once, but it zapped him pretty well, I think, and he didn't really come back after that first time. And then here, there's just more of that star thistle, knotweed, and goldenrod everywhere. There's probably 60 acres of it here, so.
So one of the most important resources for any bee yard is water. So in Wisconsin, you can go every block and either find a river, a creek, a stream, or a lake, or a pond, and that's the best place to put bees so they don't have to go very far for that resource, and keep it efficient for them. When you monitor your resources for your bee yard placement, each of our bee yards has different resources. We have one that has chestnut trees, we have one by a field of clover, all kinds of different resources out there. But we put our bees there, they get different types of pollen and nectar, and it gives our honey different flavors at different times. So make sure you're watching what blooms and when it blooms so you can get your bees out as soon as possible. Here you get out and enjoy your bees, guys.